All right, Mama G here. It is almost May. I can't even believe it. It is April 27th. We are what, 6 weeks into this COVID pandemic, and I listened to this study today talking. It was a psychologist talking about introverts versus extroverts, and that the extroverts are having a really rough time. Me, like I need my people, but that the extroverts are actually having a rough time too. So guess what? We're all screwed. Doesn't matter where you fit in the mix. We're all just messed up. So I'm going to talk about a few things, and I'm going to put on a little video Samantha B did for us. She could never talk to us at this time of night because she's got two littles. Her husband works tonight. He's a nurse, so he works all day. So never going to happen on a Monday night. You'll see her live, but that's perfectly fine. Anyway, I want to mention a couple new recipes that I think people were like tentative to try, or they just never even thought they might enjoy them. But one is the carrot cake oatmeal that I made a couple weeks ago, who one of my clients said she loved it. I said, well, you need to post it on the page so that other people know that, because right, all these recipes come through every week. Now we're putting through 2 or 3 recipes through. I can't even remember what recipes I built or rebuilt. So Mindy, our admin gal, is going to put together a little document, and she'll put it up in the announcements every week for you on Monday night when she sends up the what's it called? The round. Hey, Trent, the roundup. And that way you can look at, oh my gosh, I haven't made this recipe or that recipe or whatever. So the carrot cake oatmeal, delicious. You should try it. Pretty much if I give you a recipe, it's good. So you really should try to add it in to at least say, yeah, this needs to go into my top 10. I'm going to keep it in my regular rotation, or, whatever. I think it's probably not a bad idea to build yourself a Mama G recipe cookbook. Right? Get a little notebook, use a little paper so that you can go, oh my gosh, these are my tried and trues. I need to remember these. And then, oh yeah, these are good too, but maybe, not the faves, or maybe a little more difficult or whatever. The PB&J bake is outstanding. So everybody that's had it loved it. My admin gal, Mindy, said, oh, I'm not going to make it. My husband doesn't like oatmeal. I said, it's not oatmeal. It's a bake. It's like you cut it up almost like, comes out like a muffin, like a cake. Delicious. My little granddaughter, Olivia, the pretty princess, loved it. So highly recommend you try that as well. And I got some really good news from clients this week about how them actually kind of following the template of the Mama G lifestyle has really helped them not have those cravings. Now, I talk about it all the time. I don't know if people necessarily believe me, but if you're getting in all of your food, right? Like if you actually get breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? And for you avatars out there who sit at that 1,500 calorie mark, like that 400 calories, like just right for us mama bears. And for those of you who are more active and have different metabolic rates and whatever your situation is, you get to eat a little more like Mama G. Thing is that if you can eat those regular meals and then get your 2 snacks in, no matter what, before you give into the frozen whatever that's in the freezer, like the Girl Scout cookies that you put away just in case. I don't know why putting like a Girl Scout cookie or any other cookie in the freezer would make you feel like secure and not attacking them, because really frozen cookies or cookie dough is like delicious. So I don't think it's a really good tactic. But anyway, point being is, there's always that craving for that sweet or salty or whatever. So just remember that if you get in all your food before you even contemplate eating something extra, you probably don't need that something extra. And that's when, if you're struggling, that's when you should reach out to me via WhatsApp, right? And we can have a conversation, right? I'll be your motivation to take a moment, and we'll look at your food and kind of assess your situation and see where you might be missing the mark. Because for your new people, for sure, I understand this is a new language. I completely understand that this is foreign. Now, I will tell you that, when you look at the math involved, it's like 6th grade, 8th grade math, so you all should be capable of it. But if it's not something that you do on the regular, I 100% understand it is like brain surgery. So, even when I talk about building meals, and a client will say, hey, can you look at my lunch? It's just not right. And I'll look at it and go, okay, I see like this protein source, right? This kind of meat or poultry thing. And then I'll see like the starcher grain, and then, there's not enough calories. And I'm like, what are we forgetting? And they're like, I don't know. It's like, there is a template, right? If we think about the healthy plate, or if we think about the 1500 calorie guideline, it's like, where's your starchy grainy, right? Where's that quarter of that plate? Where's that lean protein? Where's that quarter of plate? Where's that non-starchy, half that plate, right? And then where's that fat that kind of brings it all together? And then to get more in depth with that, for those of you who are using a little bit of MyFitnessPal or MyFitnessPal and the healthy plate, then we know, okay, I need about 100 to 125 calories of my starch or grain. Where the hell is it? Right? So, it's got to be there. It's got to be on your plate. It's got to be in MyFitnessPal. It's got to be somewhere. And I'll mention again, the beauty of Mama G's recipes, I've done that heavy lifting for you, is that all of those things are included. And if they're not included necessarily in the body of the recipe, in the recommendations, it'll say, with your serving, please include some avocado or cheese or blah, 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 to kind of hit our goals for that particular meal. So wanted to mention that. And that's when I had said to a client, I said, I think I'm going to have a Mama G quiz and make you all take a quiz. You get no cheat sheets, no nothing, right? Make you take the quiz and see if anybody's even paying attention to me. Holy crap. So I don't know. I may come up with that quiz, little pop quiz on you guys at some point or another. But following the template, the rules are there. Now I am bound and determined to come up with one sheet in a really easy fashion that kind of gives you those reminders, so that it's just so that you don't go nuts with it. I want to get into talking a little bit about eating out. So I had a client so we have two facets now. In your normal pre-COVID life, I don't know what post-COVID life is going to look like, or if there'll ever be a post-COVID life, but a lot of my clients would make a decision to go out to dinner, and they would have a little bit of flexibility to say, to whoever they're going out with, hey, let's go to this restaurant. There's lots of options. We all should be able to enjoy it. I mean, sometimes you can go to a big restaurant like a Cheesecake Factory where they have a huge menu. So I promise you that we can find several options within that would be acceptable to me and acceptable to you at the same time, and then acceptable to your whole group. But this particular client said, that her significant other wanted to go to Blaze Pizza. So it's a pizza place we have up here where you can, I think you pick your crust, pick your toppings, pick all of those things. And so they went there, and after the fact, she told me, and she said, oh, I got the cauliflower crust. And I'm like, well, let's have a conversation about that, because, we can look at where's our starchy grainy coming from. And the cauliflower crust, I will tell you, does have some starch in it, right? It's probably a white flour that helps to bind it together, maybe some egg or something, right, to kind of hold everybody together. Is it necessarily the best choice? Not really. When I've looked at those like cauliflower crusts, right, like gluten-free, like at Trader Joe's and things, like, there's nothing significantly healthy about it. A lot of times I would just say to you, let's get a thin crust. Number one, you're not going all the time, right? So we'll treat it in more of a treat or splurge category, as long as we don't overeat. Like if we get the thick crust and then we got all kinds of crap on top of there, it's not a bad, situation to go to one of those pizza places, to be able to, look at the size of the pizza. And again, I think they're usually single serving. You're probably going to end up getting half of it, because based on portions, because you actually have been maybe looking at portion sizes at home while you're working with me, and maybe you're going to get half that pizza just based on the crust, right? If we got a thin crust. Now, what happens here is our problem is that we really have zero control. Now, you could ask for every veggie in the world, but here's what I'm going to tell you. They probably charge you for $1 for each vegetable, which is why we have pizza at home. So actually, I'm going to make a suggestion to this client that they do pizza night at home, and her significant other can have the best pizza ever. But I don't know what it is with some people, and they have to go out. Are you one of those people? Because I definitely don't. My mom used to say that, I'd rather just eat at home. My food's just as good. And now I am my mother. It's not a terrible thing, not at all. Anyway, so, you now have this pizza, you're going to have a minimal amount of non-starches on there. There's just no way, number one, you could afford to put the amount of vegetables that you want to put on it if you go out. Secondly, that sauce, that marinara that you choose, if you start looking at the marinaras that come in jars, like for instance, I have a client who loves that Raos, R-A-O-S. You can buy it at Costco. It comes in a multi-pack. So her mom will use ground beef and Raos to make her sauce, and holy crud, it's 50% fat. So these are the things that I talk about picking your poison. I would rather have a little more cheese on a pizza that I make at home than waste my fat on the marinara or on how they cook the veggies or those kind of things. So this again is where we start to pick the poison. So again, is it a terrible idea if they want to go and pick a pizza? No, but we can kind of portion out our crust. You're not going to get the whole crust, guarantee you, no matter how thin it is. Secondly, we can choose something. I think they had like grilled chicken she could put on it. So there's a good way that we can get some protein. If we have some mozzarella on there, we can have some protein and fat. So I feel good about that. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way you're going to hit your non-starchy veggie goal. So even if you chose a salad, what is that salad? A little tiny bowl here. Maybe you have 2 ounces or 3 ounces of lettuce and accompanying things. It's 10 or 15 calories worth of vegetables. And then, by the way, you're putting stuff on top of it, a dressing, you know, all of those things. So this is where I would tell you, if you're going to go out like that, I would definitely carry along your baggie of 75 calories worth of non-starchies. Eat them on the way so you feel somewhat satisfied when you get there. Enjoy a pizza that you like, eat half of it, take the other half home. When you eat it the next day, by the way, your other half, a great way to heat it up is either if you have one of the air fryers, or just using a skillet that will fit that other half of your pizza in it. Super hot pizza, put it on there, put the cover on there. The cover will help the topping kind of melt and get warm again, and the bottom being hot in that pan will help make it crispy. So just a little trick there for you there. But I'm going to tell you this right now. I tagged one of our clients on multiple pizza entries, right, on the Facebook group. We make pizza every single week. We love pizza, and I use the Angelic Bakery Flatza pizza crust with I love, but we also, somebody else posted a 2-ingredient, it's just whole wheat flour and Greek yogurt pizza crust that they love. Somebody also made little garlic knots, all kinds of great stuff. So you get to enjoy the starches and grains, but what I'm saying to you is going out for pizza is not necessarily your best decision based on us trying to get this healthy plate approach taken care of. Now, let me preface that. I don't know what your goal is, right? Well, I do know what most of your goals are, but what I'm saying to you is treats and splurges are just that. So if you want to go to pizza and you really enjoy pizza and you're going to go get the pizza because you're not going to eat it there, get it, bring it home, you know, have your veggies, have a piece of pizza and enjoy yourself and put it away. Okay. So this is that balancing act, right? You know, I have clients who have very specific goals. They're like really motivated. They just want to get there. Well, then guess what? Treats and splurges are going to have to be put on the back burner or not used very often. Some of us, right, are kind of sitting in homeostasis, and we have a lot more flexibility with having a treat or splurge, you know, on a more regular basis, like once a week, right? Others of you, like, you know, I'm willing to be more flexible with how long my goal takes to get there. What you need to remember is the food that you have available to you, right? Whether you're using my recipes, whether I help you build meals, you should be satisfied. You should be enjoying every morsel. You shouldn't be looking for crappy food that is unhealthy and potentially blowing your calorie budget. And if you're having struggles, we need to have a meeting so that I can hold your hand and kind of look at what you're doing and see where we might be missing out. All right. So let's go back to that kind of combination of looking at a healthy plate approach, using my Fitness Pal, and using my recipes. So one thing I want to say about my recipes is this. There are mistakes. It is not a cookbook. I have no editor and people reading it and looking for everything, right? So this is like, I come up with a recipe, Mindy and I build it, we put it out there to you, and inevitably, especially when they're brand new, there's going to be something missing. I think in that peanut butter and jelly bake, there was milk missing. And I had several people make it, not say a word. And then I had one client who said, oh, no, you don't understand. Like, I am so OCD when it comes to my like cooking, and it didn't tell me where they add the milk. So anyway, we fixed it. You wouldn't even know it. Mindy printed it, put it back up into the website. But I need to know. So do not hesitate to post on the website, ask a question, tag, whatever. Just say, hey, this is not making sense. All right. Because the goal someday is maybe to get all of those recipes into a Mama G cookbook so that the whole world can benefit, right? Whatever. Anyway, please, if something's not logical or something is missing, please let me know so that we can start to perfect these things. Secondly, I'll mention again that there are older recipes in there. If there is not, you're going to see the title, you're going to see the number of servings. Remember, here's a reminder again, in MyFitnessPal, you will often see 1 cup. Ignore the serving size in MyFitnessPal when you import it. All right, I'm just going to tell you that right now. In MyFitnessPal, we have to put some amount. So we default to 1 cup. It is not logical nor realistic for the majority of our recipes. So on your recipe, it says the name of the recipe. It then tells you number of servings. That's what you pay attention to. And sometimes I will tell you how many ounces or how many cups. But I'll mention again that you may cut your vegetables really big. I may cut them small. You may cook your soup longer so you lose more water. I may cook it less time. So quantities and weights are going to vary. I would rather you guesstimate if you're not being super tight with your calorie budget on, what 4 servings look like. Or if you are being super tight with it, and there's no reason not to be, just weigh the darn thing after you're done cooking it and be done with it. Right on your recipe, there's, 4 servings, it's 40 ounces, each serving is 10 ounces, and next time it's approximately 10 ounces, and there it is for you based on your cooking style. So I wanted to mention that to you, and I also want to mention that you got to remember that there are, so here's that thing. Title of the recipe, number of servings, and then in parentheses, it should tell you for this serving of this recipe, there are this many calories of a starchy, grainy carb, and it really, most of the time, is going to say somewhere between 125 calories, and this many calories of non-starchy veggies. So I'm trying to show you, hey, I already did the work for you. Here is the amount of, the important things we're looking at is the amount of non-starchies and starchy grainies. Sometimes it will only list a starchy grainy or a non-starchy, and at the end of the recipe, they'll say recommendations from Mama G. Be sure to add your portion of whatever starch you like. Maybe it's a rice, maybe it's potato, maybe it's pasta, depending on what the recipe is. So the recipe will tell you everything. You need to, though, really be diligent to read it. And again, if something is confusing, ask. I really try to make it user-friendly, but like this is my brain working when I produce these things. So I need it to be all of our brains being able to read that really easily. So that being said, there's that push and pull with my clients on who is just wanting to use a healthy plate approach, and I have no issue with it at all. Now, remember, the healthy plate approach is helping you move from maybe not so much wholesome foods, maybe a lot of restriction, maybe a lot of punitive behavior with the foods you're choosing, right? Oh, I can't eat beans and I can't eat pasta and I can't, right? To now incorporating them and keeping in mind that we have this calorie budget, right? Y'all have a calorie budget. Otherwise, you're going to be underweight or you're going to be overweight. I don't know what to tell you. Very few people can just be ideal, right? It's just impossible because we have so many things that drive our eating, right? Anxiety drives some people to eat. Anxiety drives some people not to eat. There's just so many. You're a really busy person. You get distracted. You might forget to eat breakfast and lunch. I mean, on the other hand, now you're home more than you've been, and that refrigerator continues to call your name. So there's so many facets to food and how it works in our life. My hope is that we can just start to find some, can I use the word normalization? My son hates when I say normal, but gosh damn it, I love normal. I just like normal. I like a routine. I like a schedule. I just like normal. Doesn't mean you can't dress weird or you can't be this or that. Just means like, just, do you know what I'm saying? So the calorie budget matters. And each one of us, if we've had our conversation, you understand your calorie budget. And really that calorie budget shouldn't be punitive. It should feel really good to you. And if it doesn't feel really good to you, then we have to have a conversation, because I don't want you to feel deprived. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, because it's a lifestyle approach that I'm trying to move you towards. So the healthy plate approach is wonderful, but if you don't understand portion sizes, if you're not occasionally using that scale to figure out what, this many ounces of rice looks like, or this or that, you're likely going to be overeating or undereating the calories that you deserve, and you're not going to ultimately be happy in the end, even with a lifestyle plan that allows you to eat a variety of foods that taste really delicious, because that ultimate goal of where that scale and where your health is will override anything else. And it's just us as human beings and our experiences as we've been raised and natured and nurtured, and every experience along the way. So I understand it as somebody who was disordered eating in high school, and thankfully I got it all together pretty early in life, because I got my bachelor's degree, when I was 21 or whatever. But like, to have a really clear understanding of food and where fitness can fit in your life. I mean, I've abused fitness 100%. 100% I've abused fitness in my life. I have beaten my body to a pulp. And at the ripe age of 57, I'm finally learning that I better take it easy, man. Because, I have a lot of goals that I want to accomplish. And, so point being is, I understand it. I have empathy in my own experiences for what you're experiencing, and due to my large client base as well. So the healthy plate approach is wonderful, especially when you're on vacation, especially when you're going out to dinner, especially when you're not in a capacity where you're going to weigh and measure and use Mama G recipes, right? But now that you're home, is a wonderful opportunity to take advantage of those recipes, really think about portioning things, understanding what quantities look like, what 75 calories of vegetables look like if you were to put it on your plate, especially if it's raw, what that portion of rice or what that bread looks like, because pretty much can guarantee you're under eating non-starchies and overeating starchy grainies, and then you're adding in fat, and then holy crud, the wheels start falling off. So the incorporation of kind of the healthy plate visual, using the scale in MyFitnessPal a little bit, and then incorporating recipes can really help you with that transition. All right. And the goal is, after time, is for you to not have to really think about too much. Like when I get up in the morning, it's like, which breakfast am I going to choose? And I know what those proportions look like, right? I know what my lunch is. My lunches are always going to be leftovers. And today was the weirdest lunch combination in the entire planet. But I took everything out of my refrigerator, determined that whoever was going to eat all those leftovers. And I, picked what was left, but I got my healthy plate together. So, bottom line is, what does it look like for you? Norma, you came on at the right time. Norma was looking for bike recommendations, of which I absolutely have none. I'm going to just tell you this. Number one, you don't need an expensive bike. Okay. And I'm talking about a bike for when you're out right? So the things you have to think about, are you looking for a road bike? Which I would say, I hope you're not looking for a road bike, because we need a bike that's going to allow us to go through some dirt, maybe go up some hills on occasion, and not just be on the road with cars. I am as scared to death of cars as you could imagine. And Lynn, your son, skates like butter, by the way, with those rollerblades. Oh my gosh. My nephew, we went, we did a little, I increased my COVID quarantine crew, and my nephew and my niece and the girlfriend came down, and we went biking, and he rollerbladed for 15 miles. That's a hockey player for you. He was something else. Anyway, so Norma, back to you and the bike. You should be able to find, number one, either somewhere like on the Facebook Marketplace, right? Something that's used, because tell you what, people buy sporting equipment all the time and then decide that they're going to use it as a coat rack or to put all their junk on top of when it's sitting in the garage, or, your treadmill that's got, all your clothes hanging off of it. So used sporting equipment is a very smart idea. Secondly, I would certainly look at somewhere like Costco, different sporting goods stores. Take advantage when things are on sale. You should be able to find a kind of, what do we call them? It's like a transition bike between a mountain bike, which is, got shocks and all of those things, and a road bike. So there's like a bike in the $200, $300 range. If it was brand new, it would be ideal for you. And bottom line is, get yourself a good helmet. Make sure that bike is sized appropriately for you. If you're a female, definitely make sure it's a female bike so you don't have that high bar, especially for us short people. It's problematic. And go enjoy, because tell you what, riding a bike, you never forget how to ride a bike, and you can find a lot of joy in riding a bike. But please, please, please be safe, because I am freaked out by cars and people and everything else. Okay, I had another client. Oh no, it's the same client. Norma, I'll talk about you again. So we've got a few clients. Lisa Photo was one of them too, who talked about she really enjoys a hot dog. And so I gave Lisa a little bit of a hard time because, gosh, those darn hot dogs, even the Hebrew National, right? It's kosher, it's religious, it's got to be good for you. Well, it's 50% fat, all right? So right off the bat, we eat more like a 30% fat. Can we balance that with our other foods? Yes, but typically there's nitrates in there. There's chemicals. So I'm just not a huge fan. High amounts of sodium. Can you have it for a treat or splurge? Yes, fine, do that. But if it's something that you're trying to say, can we make this Mama G approved? I had mentioned look for, that turkey or the chicken hot dog version that doesn't have a lot of crap, right? There's limited ingredients as possible. Can I communicate to you is you better know what those ingredients are. And if you don't, you better ask, all right? So we don't need to add chemicals to our life or fake foods to our life. And I'm going to talk about a few of those things now, but she couldn't find the turkey sausage or turkey hot dog. I also recommended looking for a turkey or a chicken sausage. All right, so you're going to have a lot more luck looking for turkey and chicken sausages. You should be able to find them anywhere. Sprouts, Trader Joe's, your grocery store. And let me add this person in. The problem with any chicken or turkey sausage, even though it's just going to say chicken or turkey and then spices, and there shouldn't be any nitrates or any crap, is it's going to have somewhere between 400 to 500 milligrams of sodium, which is why it could never be a regular part of your life, because it's highly processed and the salt is very high. Now, can you use it a couple times a month, once a month, enjoy a nice sausage sandwich or a turkey, hot dog, whatever? Yes. So try to pick a chicken or a turkey, preferably the sausage version, because I've never seen a hot dog that had no crap in it. So let me know if you find one. Secondly, we're going to put it on a whole wheat bun, or you can use a whole wheat thin. You can actually find smaller size whole wheat buns, even though, all the gluten haters are hoarding our gluten, right? During COVID, you know what I'm talking about. All the bread's gone. But the thins work out well too. And this is when, if you're Italian, you make the Italian version, right? Where you saute or grill or roast in the oven peppers and onions and tomatoes. Delicious. So we can easily get our 75 calories of those non-starchies coming from those, little salt, pepper, garlic. Delicious. And now you've got your bun. Maybe you do a little marinara and you've got more of that chicken or the turkey sausage. You have a beautiful meal right there. And then I would tell you, you're going to have some fat to play with, a little mozzarella on top of there. Throw it under the broiler. It gets a little bubbly and brown. Delicious meal. Right? A meal in one. And if you need help building that, no problem. Now, you can also do more of the American, right, version of it, where you can use a sauerkraut. Remember, sauerkraut's that fermented vegetable that we talked about that you should incorporate on the regular. It is higher in sodium, yes, but it also has live cultures in it, which we like. So if you're like a kimchi or a sauerkraut person, on occasion, add it in there. It'll help add some more of those good bugs into our guts. But again, we kind of want to counter all of that sodium. The good part is that we're not eating a lot of processed foods ever, right? So I've told you, if you buy chicken broths or other stocks, buy low sodium. If you're buying canned tomatoes and canned beans, try to buy low sodium or rinse the beans off. So unlike general population, we're eating much less salt, but I'm just telling you, like, I want you to be aware, be a good consumer, a good nutrition consumer. Let's read the labels, read the ingredient labels, read the nutrition label, and assess the situation and ask me, and I'll help, like on nights like this, explain it to you. So Norma, you picked out the tofurkey. So she picked out the plant-based, high protein, well, duh, package, right? So I looked at the package there. So it's an Italian sausage. So here's the thing, 270 calories. That's a big chunk of your calorie budget there. 15 grams of fat. So over 50% fat within that sausage. So these are all things that I want to point out for you. Almost 500 milligrams of sodium. It's a lot of sodium. That's why they taste so damn good, right? 24 grams of protein. So we know that fits in our mix, right? And what else? So it's tofu. It's also what's called vital wheat gluten, which is a high protein. The gluten is a protein, and they use this vital wheat gluten, which is part of the gluten molecule, or the gluten food stuff, and it had oil in it. So innately, is there anything wrong with it other than it's higher in sodium? Yeah, that means you wouldn't have it on a regular basis. I have no idea what that tofuki, I don't even know how to say it, tastes like. But how do you fix that? You got a 270 calorie, you have 130 calories left. 75 calories have to come from your non-starchy. And that pretty much leaves us with not the appropriate amount of our starchy grainy, right? We're going to be missing out on some nutrition there. We're going to be missing out on some fiber and some vitamins that would come from the starchy grain, like that bread stuff that we might pick. So do I think it's a great idea? No. Could we potentially use it in a scramble or something like that since you bought it? Yes. So like I said, Trader Joe's, Sprouts, Ralph's, everybody has a turkey or chicken sausage type of situation. Look in the butcher section. So by the ground turkey or the ground chicken, that's where you would find those sausage ideas. In Trader Joe's, it's where all the meats are. So just take a look there. All right. And Costco has it as well. So let me take this moment now to let's put Samantha B on. So let me share my screen. So Samantha B has got a message from you. You get to see baby Parker as well. Let's see if I can get this going for you guys.
Hi, I am Samantha B. I am Mama G's fitness expert, and I am the guru, the fitness guru behind the fitness macros. Now, we are in the process of revamping those just a little bit as time goes on and different training strategies are being implemented. There just is a opportunity to make some good change. And with that good change, we've decided to start offering some virtual training. Now, with this global pandemic going on, and I'm not talking about obesity, with the old Coronaville, fitness institutions, studios, gyms, athletes, coaches have had to find strategies in order to get in front of clients and or athletes and or coaches in a way that doesn't put them into the same room. So this gave us an opportunity to see and experiment with a way that we could improve your experience here with Mama G's Lifestyle. So what we're going to start doing, not next week, it's the week of, let me see here. It is not the week of May 4th, but it's the week of May 11th. We are going to be offering some virtual training sessions. So what's going to happen is I'll be at studio. I won't be here with baby Parker. Won't be here with baby Logan or big girl Logan upstairs. We'll be in studio with me. And you will be at home, in your home gym, in your home living room, wherever you need to be. Most of the time I'll have you guys muted and I will be bringing you through a program. Now, the way that I program all of my athletes is very similar to the way that I'll be doing these training sessions. So what we'll do is I'll demo, you'll start, You're going to make sure that you set up your Zoom in a way that I can see you, but don't worry about your spatial awareness when it comes to if you have a laundry basket out or so on and so forth. It's a judgment-free zone, but I do need to be able to see you. So what I'll do is I'll say, hey, Kathy, move your camera to the right, or hey, Gina, can you make sure that you turn this to the side? And that way, when you are actually exercising, not only you're going to be able to get another set of eyes on you, you'll be able to learn and implement some new strategies when it comes to strength training. And we won't just be doing push-ups and burpees. We'll actually be learning how to squat, deadlift, overhead press, push press, pull up, and we will do every and all variations for all fitness levels. So what I'll do is I'll introduce for the cycle, a cycle is going to be how long we're going to be implementing a strategy, equipment that you will need and or could use to substitute something for resistance or something to put your body into a specific pattern. So before it even starts, you'll know, okay, I'm going to need 2 water bottles, or I'm going to need 2 dumbbells, or I'm going to need to go and I'm going to need to find, oh, thank you for that throw up. I'm going to need to find a broomstick, dowel rod, so on and so forth. So, or a towel, or whatever it happens to be. And then you can start creating a space for yourself at home that you could be doing exercise, even strength training at home. So that's been the pretty much the biggest missing link, I think. A lot of times we're seeing people incorporate their resistance training in a cardiovascular environment, which is not terrible, but there's such a benefit to understanding how to work without oxygen demand to improve your overall pattern and or range of motion, and ability to adapt to stressors, whether they are new ones, old ones, or variations of ones that you've been working on. So that's my job, is to create an environment for you that you can work out at home, implement your strength training. I will be doing mobility involved with this as well. And then we will expect you to be able to still do your cardiovascular training on your own, whether you do whether you go back into a group trainings type of situation, that's completely up to you. Now, we'll be offering a couple different class times. I would like to see if there is interest for people. I won't base it off of one person. I won't base it off of a zip code or time zone or whatever. I will only be offering it at certain times. So if you can make it, you can. If you can't, you can't. If there's enough of a want, then I can implement more into my schedule. But I am going to be using this as time that I have in the studio, okay? Now, with that being said, it's going to be completely donation-based. Once we get through this incredibly challenging pandemic, we will have this as a paid-for service and or a membership onto the page. It won't be super expensive, but it will be something that you pay for, that you're a part of. It should be super wonderful and great. I'm really excited to be a part of it. But at this point, I don't expect anything. It would be very much appreciated. But if you at this point are struggling financially and or have lost your job or so on and so forth, by all means, please come try it out. And if you're just skeptical and you're like, I've already got all this stuff figured out, I've never really enjoyed this type of thing, this is a perfect opportunity for you to try it. So again, I want to talk a little bit just about format. You would sign into Zoom just like we are right now. You would have your workout stuff already pre-planned. I would put it up onto the Mama G's lifestyle thing that we were going to be doing. Your first day, you're going to need this equipment for the next however many weeks. And that week we would start and we would implement a strength training cycle with mobility to promote the exercise and or goal of workout that particular cycle and or day of workout. Okay, so you will be learning so much. We actually will be asking questions on the group, and it should be a really, really cool. It should be a really, really cool time for us all. We will be able to invite people from other parts of the country. Like I said, I won't be offering 10,000 classes a day. It will be during my office, not my office hours, my studio hours. So we'll see how that works out. But I will take some suggestions on timeframes that work best for you guys, wherever you live in the state and or country, and we will go from there. I really, really am looking forward to seeing us include actual strength training into our fitness macros that also incorporated mobility exercises that should improve stability in your core and or functionality through your joints of your entire body. Ladies and gentlemen, we haven't seen each other in a while, but I do believe wholeheartedly that I am Samantha B and you are better for the rest.
All right, there she goes again. She's always upshadowing me there. But Samantha B is full of personality. And little Parker, you could see she was watching herself on the screen. She was adorable. I'm going to tell you this right now. You want to take advantage of Samantha B. I don't care if it's a 30-minute complimentary phone call with her where you can talk about what's going on in your life with your fitness goals and how you might be able to incorporate things, especially based on injuries and ailments you have. She's a rehab specialist. She has rehabbed me through every surgery and injury that I've had, and I've had too many to speak of in the 6 years that I have been with her, and none caused by her, all either medical issues or injuries. So remember what I said earlier about, like beating my body to a pulp. So smarter now, and she has really helped me to improve my mobility, improve my strength, and really my overall functionality. So super excited that you guys have an opportunity to potentially work with her. She didn't say anything about like recording those calls, but I really feel like she needs to record those calls. That way you guys can get to them in your schedules, not based on her schedule. So we'll be discussing that. So if you have any interest in that, be sure to reach out to me or Samantha B or whatever. So I'm going to go back to it. A couple more questions here. And then, Patty said, what do I use for the pizza crust? So I think I said it. So I love it. I'll put it up on, I'll take a picture of it, but I love it's Angelic Bakehouse is the brand. I bought them on Amazon when they stopped carrying them at Sprouts, but they actually now carry them at Ralph's. And where I find them at my Ralph's is like where the Boboli crusts are hanging. So all of those kind of refrigerator packaged crusts, that's where they live. At Sprouts, they used to live in the freezer or they'd be on the shelves. It kind of went all over. They don't have to be frozen. When I buy them, I will buy several of them and I stick them in my freezer. And then when I need them, I pull them out. There's a couple crusts together. I separate them and it's no big deal. And I actually will cut mine like into a peace sign because that's the appropriate amount for me. For you guys, it would be the perfect quarter crust. And what I do, they're sprouted wheat. I love them. They're super thin. I put them in the oven ahead of time. I get it crispy and then I'll pull it out. And then I think you guys have seen it on the Facebook group, is I roast veggies. I roast a tray of red onions and zucchini and eggplant and peppers, whatever floats your boat, right? Jalapenos, all saute, grape tomatoes and a little olive oil and garlic, salt and pepper. I love that with some red pepper flakes for my marinara. I also have purchased jars before. I make marinara and I save leftovers in the freezer. I pull that for the crew. We started using, once Lent was over, when we couldn't have meat on Fridays, which is normally pizza night, I started buying it's not Zaki Farm, the Jenny O ground turkey that's Italian seasoned. Delicious. So instead of using like the Jenny O sausage, which again has more sodium in it, buy the ground turkey that's Italian seasoning. You can use that in anything you want, the bolognese or whatever, but that tastes like Italian sausage. And that on your pizza with all of your beautiful vegetables and your portioned out mozzarella on there. So I put all of my vegetables, which you can easily calculate, 75 calories worth. It is no joke. That pizza is packed high. You get your however many grams of mozzarella on there. Now I put it in the oven and I put mine on I use nonstick foil and I kind of wrap it around my pizza crust because I don't want to lose any of it. And I put it in the oven on the top shelf, like 450 for about 5 or 10 minutes, just depending on how many times the oven has been opened. And it is outstanding. The cheese gets bubbly and brown. And then I pull it out and I top it with a pile of arugula, a little bit of salt and pepper, some more red pepper flakes, and I am one happy camper. And you've seen from the Facebook group, people do the same thing with different options. It is outstanding. So highly recommend that. And again, I bought it on Amazon, but again, with all the people, the non-gluten eaters now eating my gluten. Everything seems to be hard to get, and Amazon is no longer Prime, and whatever. You never get anything when you want it anymore. Jeez, first word, COVID problems. All right, had another client ask about a donut. So she's a new client, right? She sent me a screenshot of a package of donuts. Number one, it wasn't even a donut from a donut shop. All right. Now, if you're going to eat a donut, can you please go to a donut shop and get a donut that's fresh, hot out of the oven, not day old? Now, I'm going to tell you this. I haven't had a donut in 2,000 years. All right. And I have zero interest. And Sam always is like, oh, I had a delicious vegan blah, blah, blah donut. And then number one, the fact that your donut was vegan annoys me. But she would go to Whole Foods every once in a while, and they would get this vegan donut. And she loved this thing, okay? I have no interest, zero interest. But, I'm a 1%er, my husband says. Maybe I'm a 0.5%er. Nobody else is like me. Thank God. Can you imagine more than one of me? Not a good thing. Anyway, I get this package, right? The plastic package. It says Sweet Beast Triple Chocolate Protein Donut. Okay. The fact that it says protein in there annoys the crap out of me. Because is that what, like, now that it has protein in it, now your donut's healthy? All right. So she says, can I use this as a treat? Well, let me just tell you, I'll tell you this after I perused it, and after I'm going to tell you all this, what I said at the end was, no. She's like, okay, LOL. I said, I'm serious. There is if you want a donut, you go to like Sidecar, one of those specialty places, and you enjoy some salted caramel, delicious donut, and then go home. All right? Don't be eating crappy crap. So 144 calories. Well, it's only 144 calories. I certainly have room for that in my calorie budget as a treat. Well, number one, you're not going to eat just one. So forget about your calorie budget. 4 grams of fat, no big deal, right? So that's only like, 25% fat. Who cares? That's fine. The carbs, 12 grams of protein in a donut. That's unheard of. No fiber. Okay. So what was the ingredients? So not only do we look at the nutrition label, we look at the ingredients. Almond flour. Oh my God, here we go. It should have said, it couldn't say no gluten, but almond flour and coconut flour are always things, and rice flour you're going to see on gluten-free packages. But the fact that this had wheat flour also includes, not whole wheat flour. So that's why there's no fiber, because there's zero fiber. And first off, the almond and the coconut nut, they are incredibly high in fat, which is weird because there's only 4 grams of fat. The wheat flour has no fiber in it because they've taken out the endosperm in the bran, right? Now, next ingredients. Here's my favorites. Stevia and Splenda. It's sugar-free. It's got to be healthy. Okay, stevia and Splenda. There's nothing healthy about a sweetener that is 10 to 10,000 times sweeter than sugar. That would be made in a factory or in a laboratory to start out. All right. Number one, let's remind you that we have very significant research that the gut and the brain, the access point, gets very confused when you eat this thing that's super sweet. Now your brain says, yo, guys, turn on. We got some glucose to process. And now there's no glucose. So there's confusion. Now the gut-brain axis gets confused, and you get so used to that super highly sweet that you're screwed. Okay? So step one. Step two, we are now seeing evidence that those non-nutritive sweeteners are potentially damaging our gut microbiome. All those beautiful bacteria that we're trying to populate with good guys, not bad guys, are being damaged by the stevia and the Splenda and the sucralose and the spartamine. And by the way, but stevia is natural. Monk fruit is natural. Well, number one, you can eat monk fruit all day long. It's a piece of fruit, but you'll never find it in the United States. Number two, stevia. You can eat stevia leaves all you want, but a stevia leaf, when you bite it, is like a little tiny bit sweet, like a spearmint leaf. But you know that stevia, it's a million times. You touch a little bit, it's like a little arsenic. Right? What's wrong with just a little bit of stevia or Splenda? Well, a little arsenic can kill you. So I'm just going to make that analogy there. So cut it out. I'd rather you enjoy a real live treat that has real food in it rather than considering this. And by the way, the last ingredient was whey protein isolate. So isolates is when they take, you know, the proteins within foods and then separate it out, and it's highly processed again. I'd rather you just eat real food, please. No sweet beast, triple chocolate protein donuts, cut it out. Okay, so for that person who wanted that, no go on that. All right, let's see what time it is. All right, so let me just say a few more things, and I can see if I can talk to you athletes about a few things myself. So number one, you got choices. Healthy plate, a little more lenient, not so tight on the calorie budget. If you're gonna want to delve in a little bit more, you gotta have a scale on your counter. You've got to use a little bit of MyFitnessPal, and don't guess. So do not put something into MyFitnessPal that you've guessed on, because it's a guess. So cut it out. You either eat a healthy plate approach for that particular meal or snack, or you use MyFitnessPal in earnest. The other thing I want to mention is, especially for newbies, when you put things into MyFitnessPal, like not a Mama G recipe, picking your food stuff is where it can get very confusing. I had a client that made a beautiful, kind of like a, I want to say like a chili verde, but you can do it with any kind of meat, right? With lots of vegetables, and you've got your meat in there. And then ultimately, you know, you're taking your meat out, right? That's seasoned with all of these things you cooked it with, like the chilies and all that. But so now you have this meat. So you need to, in all cases, use the raw food stuff when you put it in MyFitnessPal. Now, we've talked about that certain foods, when you cook it, or however you cooked it or whatever, that can lose weight or gain weight, like pasta gains weight, right? Because it gets water weight. Vegetables lose weight because the water gets drawn out in the cooking process. But in all cases, we're going to be a hell of a lot better off to say boneless, skinless chicken breast raw, right? Than to pick something that says roasted chicken or rotisserie chicken or grandma's whatever. We have no idea how they cooked it. We know nothing about it. So we can just make some guesstimates, right? If you've, you know, got a piece of meat and, or a piece of fish or a piece of chicken, and you want 3 ounces and we put it in raw, I'm going to tell you, you know, you're going to be choosing up to 2.5 ounces if we put in a raw 3-ounce portion. All right. So just take a little bit away. Same thing with the vegetables. We can take a little bit away. But put the raw version, you're going to be better off, and ask me for help. All right. And a million times over, ask for help trying to build these kind of routines with you. And again, I'm not trying to make you disordered. Okay, I'm trying to eliminate disordered eating, but in order for you to understand portion sizes, it's really, really important to do that. And I'm trying to come up with some cheat sheets, you know, especially when you want to be more lenient or you don't have a scale with you. Like when I'll say 10 ounces of onion, you're like, how the hell much is that? I don't have a scale with me. You know, my hope is to be able to say, you know, a medium onion or 2 cups or something. So I'm going to try to, when I'm bored, never going to happen, kind of come up with a few cheat sheets for you guys to kind of help you out. You know, if you send the recipe to a friend or, you know, things like that. But the scale on your counter, honestly, you get a light plastic bowl, you know, you're cutting up your zucchini and your stuff, just put it on the bowl and just weigh it. It's not a big deal, folks. And then you will understand that you're getting the nutrition you need. You're not undereating, you're not overeating, and you start to have a better sense of how to help yourself be healthy. So I'll make one comment on Samantha B on the fitness macros. So I'm really excited for you guys. Several of you I've talked to in the last couple of weeks, especially since COVID, and I took on more of you to take advantage of those fitness macros. You know, the fitness macros come in layers. It's on the website, right under the recipes. You've got layers of phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. They're typically done in 30 days where you work these programs, and then it's level 1, 2, or 3, something like that. You know, somebody who's not exercised regularly at all, somebody who's off and on exercise in 30 days, and then somebody who's a regular exerciser. Think about what she's trying to teach you in terms of your cardiovascular exercise, right? Getting that heart moving and those lungs working, right? Blood flow to all of our body parts, weight-bearing exercise, depending on what it is with your cardiovascular exercise, to help us lay down some bone, perhaps build some muscle. Cardiovascular exercise is necessary for every human being on this planet. period. And she gives you some recommendations on where to start. All right. Secondly, we talk about that mobility. Every single human being needs mobility. Most people know nothing about mobility, and most people are doing things very, very wrong. So Samantha B takes you through with her videos. She gets you on the floor, on the bed, or whatever works for you, and allows you to lubricate every joint in your body. I don't care who you are, how big you are, how small you are, whatever, is you will benefit from moving every joint in your body. And she's fun and cute and, tries to make it logical and reasonable. And again, those are being revamped to make it a little easier and more specific for a lot of modifications, but check those out. And then the last part of that is the strength component, which at this point is teeny, teeny, tiny. We're just trying to build a little muscle in different segments of your body. That's the beauty of what Samantha B is going to be offering now, based on donations if you're able to, and not worrying about it if you're not able to, but to start incorporating a little bit of a calculated strength program. Again, this is basic stuff that will depend on your capability. And these are things that you would be scared of. All right. And these are things that you people who are crazy exercises, who are doing HIIT training all day long, where you're not thinking about things like deadlifts and push press and different things like that. All of these things are about functionality, right? Being able to push a box up on a shelf, being able to pick your grandchild or your kid up in the air, being able to squat down and be able to get something heavy off the ground. It's about functionality and being able to have appropriate strength in every line of your body so that you don't get injured, so that you don't exercise, and so the whole cycle goes. So take advantage of it when she offers that to you. She said in, I think, 2 weeks from now. And then lastly, I want to just mention for my last thing, for you regular exercisers, and again, I lost time on this again, but we can deal with it next week if you want, which is those of you who are regular exercisers, and even those and who really work out hard, and those of you just are regular exercisers, depending on what your goal is, does not mean you get extra food. Okay? I'm going to just tell you that right now. Like, well, I'm working out now, so I get extra food. Well, didn't you tell me you want to change your body composition? You want to lose some body fat? You want to improve your health? So working out does not mean you earned yourself extra food, but there are times that you do, and you must consume extra calories to get back to your body the fuel that it used up. So again, depending on your situation, we have conversations. Several of you out there, probably half of my clients now, are crazy people like me who run Spartan races and want to run half marathons and do all these, hike this and that. There are times when you're putting in exercise over an hour period of time when we need to start thinking about fuel, calories, usually carbohydrates and not crap, during your exercise. If we have long, strenuous bouts of exercise over an hour, along with fuel, and we talk about what that looks like, we talk about hydration, which is water, and we talk about some electrolytes. And really the only electrolyte that is worth mentioning is sodium. And depending on if you're a salty sweater, and you would know that because sometimes I can lick my face, except COVID, you can't put anything in your mouth anymore. It's salty. Like a horse, horses get so white. So we have to establish those things. So one of the things I do with my clients who do long exercise periods of time of strenuous stuff, we do a sweat test, and we do it for something like an hour of activity. And I tell you what that looks like. And just so everybody knows, because it's kind of fun, maybe not as fun, is like you pee and poop and you eat and do everything you do before you're going to work out that hour of, it's going to be strenuous exercise where you're actually going to sweat. And you get on the scale naked, then you get dressed, ready to go. You put your fanny belt on, if you're going to have hydration with you, which I hope you are, water only. And we actually know how much water, we plan ahead of time, you're taking with you. And then we weigh the water afterwards so you know how much water you drank. And then you take off your clothes and you get back on the scale before you pee or poop or do anything else. And we determine how much fluid, right, sweat you've lost. And then we're able to say to you, hey, for you, and by the way, are you a salty sweater, right? We can have you figure that out. How much do you need to be drinking of water and we drink like every 15 minutes, like we have a little schedule during that time period so that you give back your body the fuel you need, the water you need, so that number one, you can perform better. So that's all great. Again, for people who are extenuating circumstances with their exercise, this is where we build in very clear eating patterns. Every 45 minutes, certain amount of glucose. If you're out there for more than 3 hours is when we start to add in protein and fat. So it's a very calculated game plan. And I've mentioned before, I've been on Spartan race courses with beautiful young men. That is the best thing about racing, is the young men. Oh, yeah, I know, cougar, what can I say? Or jaguar, or whatever it is at 57. But yeah, take advantage of the scenery, folks, just saying. Anyway. And they're splayed down to the side of the road. Oh, they got cramps. They're dizzy. They don't have enough fuel. In the future, if I ever race again, I'm going to carry little packets of salt pills and little Mama G balls of health with my business card and hand it off to them. And just mention them. They might want to call me next time so they don't bonk during the race. So fuel and hydration and calories is so critical when you have some extraneous exercise going on, and it needs to be very calculated, and you need to have a game plan. And I love that kind of stuff. So if you need more information on that, I am happy to help. The last thing I'm just going to say is a couple people, and these are all new people, say to me things like, what about a treat? What about dessert? You know, like those sweet beast triple chocolate protein donuts. Here's the deal. Is it your birthday? Is it a special event? Are you at homeostasis? Are you perfectly happy with your weight, your health, and everything else? If not, guess what? Might behoove us to put our head down, enjoy all the beautiful, nutritious, and delicious food that we're eating, right? Not act like we're deprived or punished or this is punitive, and just have a little bit of willpower so that we can actually get to our sweet spot. And then guess what happens? You get to exercise less. You can keep your exercise the same, which means you get to eat more to stay at homeostasis. And now, right, Sunday night, Saturday, Friday night, maybe you have a beer, a glass of wine. Maybe Sunday you have, make dessert for the family, right? Treats and splurges are just that, on occasion, not something that you should be indulging on a regular basis. There is, especially now during COVID, a hell of a lot of overindulging in alcohol, a lot of eating of bread. People are making bread. Now, I'm all about bread. I'm all in. But if people are baking like mothers, those people that hated gluten, remember? So, the thing is that if somebody was saying the other day, oh yeah, I was binge watching a show. Here's the deal. My family knows, like, I will sit down, and we don't usually sit down to 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I will watch one show. So if we're watching like a series like Homeland. Do you watch Homeland? Because last night was the show finale. So anyway, I let them watch one show, or I will participate in one show. So if we're watching something together, they hate it, right? Because they really want to watch more than one show because everybody's into binging. But I always go, oh, one show. But Saturday night, we watched 2. They were so excited. I can't believe we're going to watch 2 shows in a row. So just going to say, I don't like binging on anything. I don't like binging of TV shows. I don't like binging of food, because there is nothing productive to binging of anything in your life, right? It's true. So take a deep breath. Look forward to your next meal. I have, out of my freezer, thank goodness, because it was a ridiculous day, I have chicken pozole soup that I pulled out of the freezer that has everything that we need in it. I'm going to go warm it up, and we're going to enjoy a beautiful, nice dinner, and then I'm going to sit down and watch a show. What are we watching right now? I have no idea. Stay tuned. Oh, Waco. Crazy people out there. Anyway, all right. You know what Mama G always says, it's not about what you lose, folks. It's all about what you gain. Have a beautiful evening. Ask me questions on the Facebook group. Ask me questions on WhatsApp. Really enjoy working with you all. Take care.